Yeah. Hey. Hello. Welcome in. Hey, Carly. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Jill. Thanks for joining me on a Thursday. Kind of impromptu. I've had some really great experiences with clients in the last, couple months since we've been really honoring the moon cycles and intending our energy healing around the cycles of the moon and around the menstrual cycle. So I wanted to hop on tonight while I had the time and space. I'm like, I just want to share this with our community. So if you're coming in, getting settled, grab a journal. Am I glowing? It's probably because I just had really hot peppers and I probably still sweating from them from dinner and I'm really full. So bear with me. It was so good. But grab a journal, grab a comfy seat. If you have a card deck, an oracle card deck that you like, if you have any crystals or supplies, or Mary, welcome, a singing gong from your husband, our family's running joke, you can grab that. We're just going to set our intentions, everything from what we want to heal, what we want to receive, our hormones, our health. There's such a creative and authentic way to align ourselves with the moon, align ourselves with our menstrual cycles, or if you're a gentleman and you're not having a menstrual cycle, or you're a person without a menstrual cycle, then this is really important that you can do this with the moon. So how I got started in new moon practices and just cyclical living is what I would call it, was with chronic illness. I had endometriosis, I was PCOS, my women's health was not happening in a good way. And when it did happen, it was terrible. And I was in the bathtub or in bed and just miserable. And I noticed that some of my injuries that I was having in my physical body, I tore my ACL. When that happened, both in the same knee, on the left side, there was a blockage in feminine energy in my body. When I would try to do things, I wanted to work towards a goal or create a new project or improve my health, put in the comments or tap the hearts if you have noticed there are days that you feel like you can do anything and it's unexplainable, or that you have really high energy and really high mental focus. And then there are days that you don't feel like doing anything, that your energy is just completely depleted, and there's no really rhyme or reason to why some days you're feeling great and really productive and really intentional, and some days you're I'm just vegging out on a couch and I'm not really sure. And there's a time and place to look at your hormones and to dive in and see if you have chronic fatigue syndrome, if this goes on all month, every month, that's something to listen to. But with the moon, today is a new moon. It's a time of setting intentions, planting seeds, and then we can use the cycle of the next month, the next lunar cycle, the next 30 days, along with our intentions to bring forth what we desire. So if you are a menstruating person or not, I'm going to relate the cycle to the moon and tell you a little bit how we can dance with these two things. So in a new moon, the moon is not visible. It's new. It's if you go outside tonight, you'll see it looks the opposite of a full moon. So the new moon is a time of rest, reflection, setting intentions, planting seeds, because then quickly we move into the waxing moon. So we're building up into a full moon. We'll have a full moon in about 2 weeks from now. And that waxing moon is a time of new beginnings, initiation, taking steps. Right after this, you should feel a little jolt in your energy if you're a non-menstruating person, or you, depending on, I'll talk about the menstrual cycles here in a second, which way you're flowing. And if most women are bleeding with the new and ovulating with the full, which is in rhythm, because the new moon's all about rest, reflection, intention setting. The full moon is about being seen and being visible and getting out there and making it happen. And so for most women, the ideal time to have the cycle and to bleed and to have that renewal is during the new moon. There are a large percentage of women, just under half, that are the opposite. And some women can fall in between. And if you go to my blog, middaypigeon.com, I talk about all the different cycles and where you can be and what that means about your transition, your leadership, you're a healer. A lot of women are opposite than that. And they're usually the healers, the leaders, the priestesses of the community, and when other women are bleeding, they're there caring for them, or they're there leading. And when other women are out being visible and they're at their strongest, they retreat. So notice that about yourself, and if you can attune that energy with the moon. So right now, no matter where you're at in a cycle, or if you don't have a cycle, the energy in the cosmos is rest and reflect, set an intention, be aware of what's coming up in the next 30 days. So I want to start that cycle intention setting, because after this we'll go into like a follicular or a waxing moon, which will be new beginnings, take first steps. You'll feel this jolt, this initiation of energy. Then we get into the full moon, and that's like, think about like lunatic, the word lunatic, like you're a little crazy. That word lunatic is associated with the energy. If you're like listening to this and you're skeptical about the moon, I was too. And it doesn't mean that you believe in every horoscope you read, but the moon, think about it. The moon governs the ocean. The moon governs nightshade vegetables. The moon governs the way that our bodies that are mostly water respond. So when we're understanding ourselves as cyclical beings, nature is in seasons. There's 4 seasons, right? Winter, spring, summer, fall. The moon is in 4 seasons as well. So in new moon, rest, reflect, this is kind of winter. Spring will be this next cycle that we have. The waxing moon, new beginnings, take first steps. Full moon, ovulation, be seen, be vibrant. Summer, get out there. After summer, start to tidy up, start to complete processes, get detailed. Fall cleaning, get ready for winter. We're back to winter. We're back to setting intentions, resting, reflection, hibernation. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. So why it's important. If we have a goal, if we have a healing goal, whether it's a career goal, whether it's anything for ourselves, we work with this energy and carry it out over the next month, we see the most changes. And this is like a little case study that I've been doing with clients. Like when we do the energy healing around the new moon, and 2 weeks later we'll do a release. So intention today, release in 2 weeks. It's so much more aligned. You don't feel like I'm having to push against energy. Say in the menstrual cycle or in the new moon phase, you're trying to make all the action steps happen. It likely won't. It'll feel like you're pushing against something. And you absolutely can do things during this time. But that follicular, that waxing moon, that full moon, that's really the time to get out there and pay attention in the next 30 days and see if the energy supports you. Like I'm waiting on a couple important emails, and I thought today, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard back from them. And I emailed them on Monday and Tuesday, and I'm getting like frustrated. I'm like, just checked in with this new moon energy. I'm like, this is the energy we're in. And I guarantee you, once this energy switches, I'll have an email. Coincidence? I don't know. We'll have to find out. So grab your journal. I'm going to take you through an exercise that we've been doing to bring in the subconscious mind and set in the limbic system in your brain that this is something that has happened, is happening, and your body will know how to carry this forward. Ooh, excuse my hiccups. Okay, it did close me out. Sorry. I thought I was going to look at something on my notes, but I'm not. We're just going to go off of what we have. So grab your journal, and then this new moon, I didn't know this. This was really cool. This morning in my meditation time, I was getting some encouragement and messages about like encouraging clients, encouraging this community, and anyone that I work with today. Like, if you were worthy of anything, what would you ask for? And so I'm writing this down, and I'm like, maybe I'll do a live tonight, or maybe I'll just save it for the people I see today. And I looked up, I honestly did. I should have thought about it. It's Leo, new moon in Leo, but I know enough about astrology to be dangerous, not enough to be super helpful. So I looked up the sign, and I read a little bit on one of the bloggers that I follow and really trust. And it was like word for word, if you were worthy of anything, like what would you ask for? So on your piece of paper, mark the date, mark the new moon, and then you can look up, actually, I think I have it right here. My mentor, Kate Northrup, writes this awesome Do Less planner, and it's all about like cycle syncing with the moon. If you're a menstruating person, she has a daily energy tracker. It comes with this cool little moon chart. So we are in July. So today is the new moon. So mark that date down. And then the next full moon will be August 11th. And then the new moon after that will be August 27th. So let's see what we can do in 30 days or less. And also, if you're a menstruating person and you notice that your menstrual cycle, you're like, well, it's never quite 30, it might be 29, it might be 30, it might be 33 days, watch the moon. Because it's not necessarily hormone dysfunction. I see women all the time being like, I'm not, I have fatigue 2 weeks out of the off and on in the month, or my menstrual cycles aren't lining up on an exact day. And when we observe the moon, it's like nothing's wrong with your body. Your body is just really highly attuned and working with the energy. So it can help you in that way to understand your hormones, understand why your cycles and why your moods and why your energy levels are doing certain things, because we are cucumbers with anxiety. We're 90% water with emotion, and we're governed by the moon. All right, so on your journal, on your paper, just in a place of meditation, I want you to write down just the question: if I was worthy of anything, what would I ask for? And just write that down, or sit in your place and feel it. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road and just sink into this. You might be surprised at what comes up. Feel the weight of that question just like roll off of you. You're worthy of more than you realize. But start with the one thing, the first thing that came up. That's your intuition. You can trust it. Okay, now take that one thing, and then on your paper or in your meditation, I want you to write down 3 steps of that one thing. If you're worthy of anything, like what are those three things that you would need to do? So today with a client, she said that I would have no more mental fog, and she's doing great with her nutrition. Her hormones are in check. So we're working with the energy field. So she wrote down, and we worked through this process. She had a beautiful counter of produce, of cauliflower, of apples, of asparagus, of butternut squash, and potatoes. She had a meditation practice, and then a GPA journaling practice, which I teach and we can always talk about on here if you guys have questions. So what if I was worthy of anything, what would it be? In my life right now, I have several different things that I want to do, and I'm like, I'm worthy of it all. Like, I could do it all. I could have it all. I might not be able to do it all in one day and in one lunar cycle and in one hormone completion, but I can do all the things that I want to do. Who says I can't? Who says that I can't have it all? And so the 3 things that you're writing down or you're working with are visuals of what would those, so to have a clear mind, this client, her diet, her meditation, and her journaling. And then she had a really great session, and her grandpa came in, and he was showing us fire trucks, and he was a firefighter, and it was incredible. New moons are really good for that. So, okay. So if you're worthy of anything, and then within that piece, those 3 things, I want you to give yourself like a visual of, so if you're like eating right, well, okay, that's great, but give yourself a visual of like, are you making a smoothie? Are you making celery juice? Are you cooking a plant-based meal? Like, let's just spend a moment here, everyone together. Either write number 1 down, close your eyes if it's written down. I want you to see it and feel it in your body. So I'm relating with my experience, and to me it feels like showing up to this place, this establishment that is really important to me and I will help create. And I can see all of the things that I've done simultaneously, and I'm not sure how they all got done other than egg wisdom, receiving them, sending out the signal, letting them come to me, and I'm okay with that. And I just understand that's a force greater than me. Okay, so that's one thing. You have a couple different examples. Write yours down. Feel into it for you. And then the second thing you write down is another one. So the second thing my client, when she wrote down a clear mind today, so she had diet, she had meditation, and there's a spot that she loves in her yard where she puts her feet in the grass and she stares at the fence line in the morning at like 6:30, and it's really meditative for her. And she's not a morning person, because I know some of us have talked about this, and she's just like attuned to her rhythms to be like that in the morning. So my second thing, because I'm going to come back to this video in a month and see what shifted. I'm seeing like the work and the passion and the drive that, on top of not knowing how it's going to come to me and all the things happening at once that I desire to allow to come through me in my earth's work. I see like joy in the passion. So like the grind, right? Emma says, help me wake up early. I will help you. It's hard at first, right? Because our circadian rhythms are attuned to, but to what you're currently doing. Our best hormone production is early to bed, early to rise, especially for testosterone. Your testosterone, like, and this isn't, there are healthy people that are night owls, I will say that, but for the rule of thumb, for the most part, like looking at hormone profiles all day, every day, the healthiest people, they're earlier to bed, earlier to rise, especially for testosterone and cortisol values. Cortisol and testosterone starts to decline, and cortisol starts to spike when you stay up later. And then your immune system recovers the best from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. I do not know why, but it's very consistent. So, Lauren, are you early riser? Are you night owl? I don't think I remember that. 8:30 it is. I can't get up earlier. And part of healing chronic illness, so I'm by habit, not because I want to, a morning person, and I feel my best, but I never want to get up. But when I started switching back, when I was healing chronic illness, I was sleeping 12, 14 hours a day, and I couldn't get up before 8:30 or 9. So also there's that piece, and don't beat yourself up if you're not there. Lauren, you're a night owl. I can see that. A lot of creatives are night owls. My best writing and work comes in through the morning. So anyways, I digress. We can talk more about this. Ooh, almost kicked over my stand here at the end. Okay. So the third part. So you have your two things. So eating for a clear mind, the nutrition, the meditation. Her third thing was the journaling, the GPA journaling, gratitudes, one prayer, affirmations. There's a way that you can do that if you're interested. We'll get into that. Jess, I know it's late for you. You can totally go to bed if you have your three things. So write down your third thing. Bring that visual into your mind, right? You really, to bring this, so there's a principle of egg wisdom, right? So when as women, when we ovulate, and as gentlemen, when the women in your life ovulate, or when you're in a full moon energy, the egg is released and it sits outside of where it's released, and it waits for the sperm to come join it for that miracle manifestation moment, right? It sends out a signal of what it wants. There's research that shows that the egg actually selects the sperm that it wants to reach it. And so cool in that it has enough supplies, it has enough nourishment to feed itself, the sperm, and snacks all the way down the fallopian tube until it implants in the uterus and finds itself a nice home to make a baby. So there's a principle, Dr. Christian Northrup, my mentor's mom, they both teach on this, and it's literally changed my life in using this. And they teach on like sending out a signal, right? So you're doing this and when you're writing these three things down, you're like, Jen's making us do a silly journal thing. Pish posh. It's about way more than that. Sending out a signal, like, what do I want? Right? Like what is it? And seeing it and feeling it. And even if you don't know the 3 steps to get there, because the steps might look different than what's being outlined, feel in your body what it feels like to receive it. So, Jess, your book. Start to see the publishing in your mind, the party we're going to have, the celebration, the feeling, seeing it in a bookstore. Like, feel that. And then when you're focusing on that feeling, and your subconscious is seeing that feeling versus the lack, I don't have yet. your body's going to make that its reality, right? So the principle of egg wisdom is that the brilliant egg is just releasing a signal and she receives and calls to her. She's not like running up and down the uterus. Is he coming? Is he coming? She's not like texting her friends and talking to the other eggs and saying, am I ever going to get fertilized? Like that, we all do this. This is human condition. When our souls take up this meat suit, it's just like one of the things that happens, but we can transcend that. And then what we desire can come to us much more easily. I promise. So you have your 3 things. Write them down. See them, visualize them, come back to them. So each quarter of the moon, so we have a full moon in 2 weeks, and then we'll do a little exercise around that. And really, if you're not here for that, or if you want to jump ahead and write down notes during the full moon over the next 2 weeks, things that don't serve you in reaching these desires, this intention for the lunar cycle, they'll start to bubble up. So like triggers, right? So if you're moving forward in your business or moving forward and creating a family, those that don't serve you, that aren't meant to be along your path, there's going to be triggers, and there's going to be falling outs, or there's going to be just dissolution of relationships, whatever you want to call it. And they'll be released from you because they're no longer serving your path. And we can create and fixate on the human experience of this is being done to me, this job's being taken away from me. Well, you're meant to be in a different role. So as you set these intentions over the next 2 weeks, watch for what starts to fall away and see if you can be in a place of allowing. It's really hard for me, but I'm learning and taking those next steps. So we're going to move into the next phase after the new moon will be the waxing quarter. So like new beginnings, new steps, like that, and full moon is the time to make it happen. And then right at that full moon, you'll see some things pop up, some triggers, some things in your way, and you'll say, this is no longer serving me. And then you just release. And then after that, then you have that tidying up period, luteal phase or waning moon before the next new moon. And we'll come back to this in a month, and you'll get to see the turn of events and the fruition of your intentions. And then we get to do it all over again because we're cyclical beings. So when you notice there's days of like, I don't feel like doing anything, check in with the energy, check in where you're at with your reproductive cycle, or if you're not a person that menstruates, or even if you're a woman that has hormones, you still are attuned to this cycle. And there's a lot of women, we're in this patriarchy, stress disorder, like of a society. A lot of us aren't menstruating, but a lot of these women that I work with, I have them tracking their ovulation, and they are. So you at least have one marker that you know and you can go off of. So I just said Chris, this is about menstruation. He still wants to know. I love that when guys join us because they attune their men and non-binary people, they attune their energy mostly to the moon unless they're aware of their hormone pattern. So, okay. I would love to hear some of the things that, like your intention, if anyone wants to share in the comments before we hop off, and we'll send some collective energy there. And this is a really good time. I was going to grab my deck and then pull Jeff some cards for everyone, like if you wanted to come on, but I forgot my deck. It's in the other room. And so pull a card for yourself and let me know what your intentions were. We'll jump on. We'll do this for full moon. We'll do it new moon. And I promise you're going to start to see shifts. Cool. Well, thanks for joining me tonight on a whim, guys. And I'll see you Sunday night for our Energy Healing Live. I have something really special planned that I want to do. And then on Wednesday this week, if you're in the KC area, I know not all of us joining are, come out to Liberty Memorial for yoga and energy healing. It's just a love offering class that I'm providing in a community space. And then we have a full moon mini retreat Saturday, September the 24th. And if you're not in the area, join us for our online time or online space. We have some exciting online offerings coming up as a community and our energy healing certification. So stay tuned. Lots going on. Reach out if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys soon.